I'm Phoenix Wright, a weak man. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. I really appreciated the long-ass pause after it typed out, I can't stand the sight of a man. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me.
What does that mean? With an icy stare. Yes.
Can she read minds?
Yeah.
Well, also, it's unclear how much Phoenix is thinking and how much he's saying out loud, because this happens a lot.
I prefer to think that he's always thinking when it's like that.
I mean, it makes more sense, but... I guess maybe a lot of people can just read minds.
Ms. Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony.
Hold it! And how do you know that? When the ends of the threads on the suit nipple and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly. Or so I heard. I've heard that before too. But why would Ms. Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? Don't look at me like that, just because I'm prepared and you're not. Ugh. And I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here. But where and what?
Good question.
Tie her shoelaces together. Hold it! But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time. Objection! Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Engard at any time. Why, then, would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Kurita planned such an elaborate conference. Ms. Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Engard as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears ill will towards the defendant. Objection! This isn't the Phoenix Wright Wax Philosophical Power Hour. And please stop slandering the witness. As I expected, Ms. Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid.
Really? Because to me, it sounded a little wishy-washy. I'm not gonna tell you how, or what you should do, but...
It's a little wishy-washy, just with my advice.
Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if I press a little more.
You should know this by now. But you'll need strong, decisive evidence to make her talk.
I do know that.
I sure hope he does.
Got it, Chief. I'm gonna pin you down this time, Ms. Andrews. To the floor in a headlock.
Okay.
Yeah, Amy.
Okay.
What do we think about this?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is, like, there truly has been so much about the cause of death. And, like, when the suit nipple came off.
Wait. Yeah, if it was torn off during the fight, it wouldn't have his blood on it, because he was stabbed after he died. Right?
God, I don't remember,
The fight was to choke him to death. And then afterwards he was stabbed.
Yeah.
Objection!
The music stopped, so...
This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died.
And what does that mean?
Let's examine the evidence. Okay, either one would have worked. This suit nipple has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume. When? after the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly. Which means it is impossible that this suit nipple was torn off during the victim's final struggle. Because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. That's right, Ms. Andrews. There is no way this suit nipple was ripped off during the struggle. This suit nipple was consciously pulled off the victim's dead body. Ha 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 ha. Objection! What is the meaning of this right? So what if the suit nipple was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the suit nipple torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We now know this suit nipple was not torn off during the fight. So the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it?
Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this suit nipple? What was it?
Oh my god.
He wanted a souvenir.
No! I mean, framing on guard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
There is only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. On Guard. Okay. There is no way anyone would put a bloodied suit nipple in their own pants.
Well, I mean...
That's right. Mr. On Guard was set up. By the real killer, of course.
Set up with Mr. Karita.
No.
And the real murder is... the real murder.
Juan Carita isn't dead at all.
Holy fuck.
Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer then?
Good question.
I don't know. Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point.
Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end.
Mia, couldn't you see I was having a moment? Like the background went black and everything?
Like, it was really
Okay,
dramatic.
fine. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. On Guard is...
Adrian.
Maya Faye.
Ms. Oldbag.
Security lady, you mean.
Sorry. Take that! Ms. Adrian Andrews. I choose you. You are Mr. Carita's killer.
Fucking Pokemon.
Imagine you're
Bubble
getting...
Pokemon.
Guys.
What?
Accused of murder. And the person who's accusing you is like, time for a Pokemon reference.
I would then
Order.
become guilty of murder.
Order! Mr. Wright! This is a very grave matter. How dare you make a Pokemon reference right now? Do you have any
Grave matter.
charge?
I'm sorry, it just slipped out. Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Ms. Andrews. That's a
Yeah.
bold claim. Well, how preposterous! You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me?
Jesus.
Then what about this knife?
She stabs him.
The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. On Guard, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. What? Huh? That's not an appropriate sound to that reaction. Then... What? What about the suit nipple that was found in Matt's Hakama? This suit nipple was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. On Guard was the real killer, there is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. Ah! How many pairs of glasses does she have?
7.
The only person who could have put this suit nipple into Mr. On Guard's Hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you, yet again, Ms. Andrews.
I see. What about the empty guitar case?
That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Ms. Andrews. Phoenix is on a fucking roll right now. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Ms. Adrian Andrews. No, Objection! But Ms. Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time.
That's right.
That's wrong. That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Ms. Andrews purposefully left her fingerprints on the glass to show that, yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. Ah! And to top it all off, there is this photo. The pants! A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. On Guard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him.
God, the payoff.
Speaking of how tall people are, Ms. Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not?
Hey, you're tiny.
Please, stop! Well, how about it, Ms. Andrews? I've got her this time.
Ms. Andrews?
I refuse to testify. What was that? Can you do that? There's a law. I guess you
Is
can.
this allowed?
What the fuck?
It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me.
We have the Fifth Amendment?
Yeah, a bit.
Like,
We
in
should-
this mess of a court system. We don't have the right to a fair trial, but we do have the Fifth Amendment.
You know, it's the little things. Well, yes. You are absolutely correct, Ms. Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination
And yet.
by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves. Wow, imagine how many witnesses we've had.
Every single killer should simply
is
not
why
have been
you-
allowed to testify, except for Manfred von Karma, who didn't testify. The only
Well-
one.
The
This
thing
is
is,
why
like,
you have to know your rights.
Yeah, you have to be able to invoke the right, probably. But, still fucked.
What? You mean this could have been happening all along?
Phoenix is like, what?
Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot.
Damn.
Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Onguard's room. Adrian Andrews! Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood? All right. Good flashback. That's it. That's when Francisca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Ms. Andrews to not testify if things looked bad.
You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there is still one thing you haven't done.
Won the case. Something I haven't done? What's wrong, right? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? There's one thing you haven't done.
What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth?
I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial?
We didn't learn that.
Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Ms. Andrews did, in fact, harbor a wish to murder Mr. Kurita. Well. Fancy saying such a thing.
Ms. Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Kurita?
That'll work. I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. You could have just said no.
But Ms. Andrews, please, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think?
No, actually, the Fifth
No,
Amendment
it's
exists for a
not.
reason, bitch ass.
Go.
Maybe so, or maybe not. There is nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No! She's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do?
Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation.
Don't ever put me in a situation.
I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Uh-oh. Ms. Adrian Andrews has refused to testify. And the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not yet been fully substantiated with solid, definitive proof.
But that's not true.
In this situation, there is only one thing this court can do. And that is to declare a recess.
Okay. Recess?
I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter. And at tomorrow's trial...
Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty verdict today, then... Hold it! Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial... Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that.
I'm sorry, I'm just caught on... What do they execute people the second a verdict is handed down?
It's me
I
in the
guess.
courtroom with my fists.
Everyone walks out of the courtroom and then there's just a gunshot and that's it.
Oh my god!
That's what you think that's the, like, confetti cannon
Oh
going
my
off?
god! It's pieces of the
So
killer.
upset. No appeals. I mean,
They-
I'm not surprised, but I am upset.
Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. You're the one in charge here, not the judge. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya...
Yeah, like, why didn't he just, like, tell Edgeworth?
He was too busy being pissy about being left behind.
I mean, damn bitch, me too, but also...
But, like, there's more important things.
Someone's life on the line.
But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify.
I guess to be fair, he did not know Edgeworth would be opposing him in court. He thought it was going to be
but
Francisca.
he still could have asked for help.
Too Angie.
Now then, this court is...
Objection!
This court is objection.
I really have to do everything around here. It is not impossible for this trial to continue.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you...
Gets emotional at the fact that Edgeworth doesn't know what's going on, but he's just like, damn, Phoenix really didn't want this trial to end and said something about Maya. Guess we'll bust in.
I was about to say, when he forces the trial to continue so that your assistant will get murdered. But also, I am really soft that, like, if it wasn't just Phoenix, but also the fact that I was involved. Because I want Maya and Edgeworth to be friends.
It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony.
Oh my god.
This is like, you're trying to trick her into incriminating herself. That's... Yes, that is very true, but...
We never said that he had foregone all of his weaselly ways. Actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, which one is your favorite samurai? When you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice.
Was it really
How was it?
Was it worth it?
Yes, and... I can't
Really?
help but think
Tomato
how
juice?
unnatural that is. I mean, tomato juice, really. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. If you see, you see what I did there, haha.
Oh.
So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. Wink.
Did you just... Edward, did you just say...
No. What? I'm just saying it's not going to implicate anyone. Wink.
Would the prosecution
No, you just
please
did.
stop wantonly saying winking?
Wonton winking.
Full circle.
Don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him.
His eye is just twitching furiously as he tries to wink.
Friend or foe? Just don't know.
Now he's just like raising both eyebrows furiously.
Am I friend or foe?
He's like trying to do finger guns.
Oh.
The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please.
Don't know why she agreed to this, but okay.
Yeah,
She
I don't
kinda
either.
didn't.
Yeah.
That glass of
This is
juice
kinda-
I didn't really pour it for myself. It was to revive Juan from his love of tomato juice. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind.
Oh my god, wait!
To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice.
Knife in his chest! I mean, I guess it wasn't very deep in his chest, but...
When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. Ma'am, this was the worst possible change of story you could come up with.
So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony?
I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial.
Glares at Phoenix.
Phoenix, please be careful here. You can't find anything wrong with this testimony, and there's nothing left.
I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours?
Just what the hecky gosh dang darn.
What the?
Fuck out of here, Lana!
What the heck is going on in that brain of yours? I don't know, an internal monologue, apparently.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.